Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Kirani. I'm currently studying at Multimedia and Networking Engineering programs at Politeknik Negeri Batam. Today I want to tell you guys about my artwork. It's called Vector Portrait. Before we start, we have to know what is vector portrait. First, vector or vector graphics. Vector or vector graphics are computer graphics images that are defined in terms of points on the Cartesian plane, which are connected by lines and curves to form polygons and other shapes. That's what Wikipedia says. So, according to that, we know that every artwork that made based on vector graphic format is called vector art. Some software that is usually used to generate vector is Adobe Illustrator and CorelDRAW. But on this occasion, I will focus on vector portrait, which is a vector created based on portrait of a person. Portraits can be taken from pictures, real faces, and others. The portrait that I mentioned here is used as a reference and guidance for us to making vector. After we know what is vector portrait, I want to show you my artwork. Let's see the right side of my presentation. There is a real photo of my artwork. I downloaded it from Pinterest. I use it as a reference and guidance for me to making the artwork. Let's see the left side of my presentation. There is a result of my artwork, and if you guys ask me why did I make this vector, I made this vector to increasing my skill. As I told before, I currently study at Multimedia and Working Engineering at Politeknik Negeri Batam. If I want to focus on my multimedia title, I have to increasing my skill such as making vectors or others illustration. And the second reason is I try to find my own vector style. Every illustrator have their own style of on making vector. Some are realistic, flat, or cartoonish, and others. When did I make this vector? I made this vector in my third semester at my free time. At that time, I think I have to be productive, so I decided to make that. Where did I make this vector? I made this vector at my home, specifically at my room. I using software from Adobe. It's Adobe Illustrator CC 2017 version. If you guys ask me who is in that vector and why I choose him, actually I don't know who is it, because I randomly took his photo from Pinterest. But surprisingly, he perfectly matched for what I'm looking for. At the time, I'm looking for man's portrait because I want to make male's vector portrait. It's kinda hard for me actually to make male's vector because I'm not used to it. I used to make a female's one. How to make it? I can't tell you from start to end step by step because it will be such a long video. First, choose the portrait. I choose this portrait from Pinterest. I downloaded it from Pinterest, but it's up to you. You can take it by yourself, or you can download it from Google or Pinterest or anything else. But I recommend you, if you're new on this like me, I recommend you to choose portrait that doesn't have much details because it will be difficult. And then grab the portrait into the software. In this case, I use Adobe Illustrator like I said before, and then usually I use pen tool to make the vector, and then start to make the vector. start to make the vector. I think, and I have note, vector portraits are good if they are very similar to the portrait. I have read that sentences on articles. Okay, and for me, to make it similar, I have to make more layers on the vector. So the more layers, the more it's similar to the portrait. Let me show you. Okay, in my presentation, there is a vector of my artwork, Miles vector portrait. You can focus on his hair. Okay, you can see it's just first layer, and then I put the dark brown on his hair for the second layer, and then I put the third layer, and then I put the fourth layer with light brown, and then I put the lighter brown to the final layer, and then you can see it's more realistic and more similar to the portrait. So the more layers, the more it's similar to the portrait, so the more it's good. The advantage and disadvantage of my work, I will say it's plus and minus. My vector almost the same as the portrait. I think it's the plus because it looks similar, isn't it? You can look at the portrait and you can look at my artwork. It's similar. Yeah, it's similar. And the minus of my artwork is the edge of his chin was pointed, but in the real photo or in the portrait it's not pointed, so I think it's the minus of my artwork. Okay, I hope my video can help many people, especially you. Thank you for your attention and your time. If you want to see more about my artwork, you can go to my Instagram. It's @kir_. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.